You're listening to the Behind the Booth podcast with DJ iSizzle, where music, weddings, and unforgettable stories come to life. And now your host, DJ iSizzle.
What's going on? It's DJ iSizzle. Welcome to Behind the Booth with me, DJ iSizzle. I hope you're doing well, my fan sizzles. Today we got a great episode. Yes, we are going to be diving into epic entrances, unexpected requests, and dance floor fireworks. But before we do that, I wanted to show you this. So this is my Shure SM58 microphone that I use for weddings. This is a nice and heavy microphone. I feel like when guests get this, the best man, the maid of honor, they get this in their hand, man, they know it's going to be a good speech. So I pair this right here. I spent a little extra money on this one. So I got this, and then you can kind of see the receiver down here. The receiver is, this receiver right here is the SLX D4. And this receiver is really special for a couple of reasons. And I spent a little over $1,000 for the microphone and the receiver, and I installed it into my actual DJ box. So that way I don't have to bring it out of any cases or anything like that. It's already in. I just lift the lid off. I got my mixer. I got my receiver right there. I got everything I need. I got my lighting show, that whole deal. So when I first started, it was a lot different. I was not simplifying my setup. So when you run a couple hundred weddings in like 4 years, you start to realize like I need to simplify some things and I need to really make my presentation look a little bit better. So this microphone is absolutely amazing. When you sync this up to the receiver, it has its own, like, I guess the best way to describe it would be like its own radio station. So it finds its own actual channel. It locks into that channel, and then it locks into a backup channel. So if you're ever in a place where maybe you've heard dropouts, or you were like listening to a speech at a wedding once and it started dropping out, it's because the microphone wasn't quality. So when I first started, I didn't understand the difference between $1,000 microphone and a $20 microphone. I thought they were all the same. So once I did my research, I found out that I don't want to be going out there with a $20 microphone. It doesn't make anybody look good or professional. And the confidence you build around a nice heavy microphone is pretty amazing. So if you don't have this as a wedding DJ, I highly recommend investing $1,000 into this. You won't regret it. I'm looking at getting a couple more of these. I'd actually like to get them for ceremony as well. So the cool thing about the receiver and this microphone is you can actually have a lavalier microphone you can hook up to it as well and sync that. The only thing is that you have to have an individual receiver for an individual mic. So you can only use the lavalier with one receiver. You can buy dual receivers, but I kind of feel like if the receiver goes out, you lose both your microphones. So you might want to buy just two separate receivers. And then that way you can hook up any Shure microphone that is compatible with it. So, let's get into the questions. So this is one of my favorite parts, and I hope it is for you too. So I like to do 5 fun questions about me, just random stuff. So let's start with the first question of 5.
5 questions for DJ iSizzle. Tell us about you, DJ iSizzle.
If I could have dinner with any artist, who would it be? I'm going to go with Ed Sheeran. That guy is absolutely unbelievable. I know we're so used to like seeing him now, like all the time and hearing his music, but 10, 11 years ago when Thinking Out Loud first came out, or even Perfect, like that was a moment. Like I still remember I heard it at a wedding. The first time I heard it was at an actual wedding, and I instantly loved the song. So for me, finding an artist that if I instantly love a song and it was made over 10 years ago and I still play it, I would love to talk to him and just be like, man, what was going on like the week before you wrote that song? Like, what were you doing when you wrote that song? Like, what was that actual moment where you were just like, I got to write something here. I got it. Yeah. I mean, I would love to just sit down and talk to him about that. What's my go-to comfort food after a long wedding night? Any leftovers I can get at a wedding. Absolutely anything I can get at a wedding, but mostly I love pasta, chicken pasta. I love steak. I mean, I don't know if steak's really a comfort food, but pretty much any wedding food I can like take home. If they offer me some wedding food, I never say no to any extra food that is offered to me at a wedding. It's one of my favorite parts of weddings is the food and the dinner. And yeah. What's the first song I ever mixed as a DJ? Funny story. So when Pepsi and I started going out, this was a little over 9 years ago, which is crazy to think about because it feels like yesterday. When we first started going out, she was like, "You know what? You sound like a DJ." And I was like, "Interesting. I used to be a DJ." And I had taken a break from DJing for a while to focus on another career, which I think one of these questions I'll kind of talk about here in a second. Um, so I mixed her this like 2000s R&B pop, like fun, music from the early 2000s. And I was so excited. And I got this like mixer that I'd never used before. And it was like a little pocket mixer I found in my friend's, like he had it in his closet, like with all these wires and all this other stuff. And he's like, "Yeah, I just throw a bunch of stuff in there. If you're looking for a wire, it might be in there." And I was looking for a wire. And then I was like, "What's this thing?" And it was like this little pocket mixer. And like, I was like, "Wow, I wonder if it works." And I was like searching for this whole box. There's like 100 wires in there, like round, like you had to like pull them out. And oh my gosh, it was just this crazy little bin, but it had a mixer in it. And I was like, "Oh, and I remember when I used to DJ, it'd be so fun to try that again." So I hooked it up. I downloaded some free software and I was like, plugged it in. I was like, let me get some MP3s, download some MP3s, put those in, queue them up. So I put together this mix for her, and I remember I mixed it and I was so excited, and I was doing like the quickest mixing back and forth and all this other stuff. And I was like, oh, maybe I can do a long mix. And I was so excited. I was like trying to like scratch on this little thing. Like little turntables were like this big. It was like little miniature turntables. And I got it done. I think it was like 45-minute mix or whatever. And I was so excited. And I was like, "Hey, I made something for you." And she's like, "Oh, okay." So I put it on, and I think it was like the first like 10, 15 minutes. I was so embarrassed. I was like, this sounded so much better when I was mixing it. It sounded so much better. And I just remember a couple times she'd be like, "Oh, babe, it sounds great. Thank you. Thank you." And I was like, "Really?" And she's like, "Yeah, absolutely. It's always the thought that counts." I'm just like, "Oh no." But I think I took that mix or whatever, and I kind of just it just disappeared somehow out of our lives. But that was one of my first mix. But I kept going, I kept practicing, and I definitely got a lot better. And I learned how to put together mixes and stuff because I had a whole different preconceived notion back then than I do now. So if I could only DJ in one city for the rest of my life, which city would I choose? I would choose Seattle. I just love it out here, man. The Northwest, it's awesome, man. I love it out here. If I wasn't a DJ, what career would I have chosen? Oh, so before I was DJing, I spent some years making short documentaries, short films, that whole deal. And I entered one of them. It was about Elvis Presley. And I entered one of them into a film festival, and it was in Washington, D.C. It was called the World Music and Independent Film Festival. And I won Best Short Documentary. And it was so cool because this was in like Washington, D.C. So I flew from Washington State to Washington, D.C. I stayed there at like, it was like one of the nicest hotels. Um, there was a couple hundred people out in the audience. It was in like a ballroom. You had to like wear a suit and tie, the whole deal. And they announced my name, and I was like, "What? Who?" Because I'm thinking, there's no way. Like I'm up against like 10 other movies, and you know, my little documentary I put together by myself and traveled around the U.S. and talked to Elvis fans and impersonate. Well, they're tribute artists. They were impersonators, but they renamed it to tribute artists. And I met so many cool people along the way. And I actually still know a lot of those people from that documentary. And I'm actually friends with them on Facebook. And I don't know, they're always so nice. They're just like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you, and when are you gonna come visit us in Texas?" and all this stuff. So, yeah, this was a very highlighting moment. But something I learned after making this documentary is that documentaries take a lot of time, a lot of effort to put together, and the reward is never as good as maybe you hope. You hope that people will watch them and they'll change some sort of thought process. Um, but that's not always the case. But with this one, we got very lucky. It's called Elvis What If, and I do have it on YouTube. You can check it out. You can type in Elvis What If. I think it's one word. It was when I had my name spelled Icizzle. but I had to change it from that because people were calling me iKizzle and not iSizzle. So I had to change it to ISIZZLE. So back then it was iKizzle, but it was actually iSizzle with a C instead of an S. So that was my short film documentary name that I would go under. So, and there's some more documentaries and short films if you want to check them out. But yeah, you can check it out. Elvis What If, all one word. If you can't find it, just message me on social media and I'll send you the link for that. So, all right. So let's get into segment number 1.
Wedding reality check. What do you recommend, DJ iSizzle?
So this is the grand entrance that stole the show. This was a really memorable one. And like, probably one of my favorite wedding memories is when this couple, they decided they wanted to do a choreography dance to Uptown Funk. They wanted to wear matching sunglasses, matching jackets. It was pretty cool. And they let me know before, and they said, hey, here's a part of the song. Can you play from here? Go ahead and mix it out right here. We just want to get all the people that we know, our guests, our family, friends. We just want to get them really hyped. And we're going to also have the bridal party join us like halfway through. And we're just going to completely surprise people, catch them off guard as they're having conversations. Don't announce anything. If you feel like you need to announce something because no one's paying attention, but just turn the music way up and we're going to come out and we're going to, we're going to go for it. And the fun thing is like, I really encourage this kind of stuff because I think when you're planning a wedding, there's so many details as a couple that those little things like, what if we did come out wearing matching outfits and sunglasses, or we put on like jackets and we did something a little different. We stepped out of our comfort zone. Let's do something for the guests. Let's get them all like riled up and like thinking about something different because, guests, they enjoy little things like that. And as much as they want to get to the food, they do also like love the interaction and love that you would put yourself out there as a couple. So it might loosen their pockets a little bit too, as well, to help you in your new life together. So yeah, I think if your grand entrance sets the tone for the night, definitely make it unforgettable and choose a song that really reflects you guys and something that would really get your friends and family like up on their feet and really cheering you on. So as well as it makes for great photos. And if you have a videographer there, it's going to make for a great video as well. All right, let's move on to segment number 2, Dance Floor Diaries.
Dance Floor Diaries. Tell us more, DJ iSizzle.
So this is an interesting one because this is a song that sparked kind of like, I would say like a firework moment, and it's not Katy Perry, but this is also a song I get on a lot of do not playlists. So I'm always careful with it when it comes to requests. Like when the song first came out, I mean, it was a hot song and everybody wanted to hear it all the time. But I will never forget this summer wedding where the groom requested that they were going to have fireworks going as they did their exit, but they also wanted the chorus of Shut Up and Dance by Walk the Moon. So they wanted the fireworks to go off and they're like, shut up and dance. And they wanted everybody just to sing at the top of their lungs. And what was cool about this is that the guest didn't know, but this is something that he had kind of like planned, but he didn't even tell me. So I was all surprised too. He's like, hey, can you play that song, Shut Up and Dance? I'm like, sure, I got you. He's like, just play it from the beginning and then hand me the microphone and I'll let the guests know, everybody out on the dance floor. He didn't even have to say everybody out of the dance floor. That song came on and everybody ran out there and they all started dancing. And I gave him the microphone. He's like, come on, everybody, like, let's sing along. Let's have a great time. And yeah, it went off. It was really fun. So if you can do something like that, I do recommend coordinating it before, if it's maybe a lesser known song, just so that the DJ or myself can have it ready for that moment, and I can have it queued up, and I can be thinking about the songs before this, making sure, looking around, making sure we can have all the people within a range so they're not, 300 feet away, or, you know what I mean? We can kind of bring everybody back and say, hey, I need everybody on the dance floor, for something, and we can just get them out there. So, yeah, I do like Dance Floor Diaries, man. This is a great segment, and I love that I get to share these small little stories. So, all right, let's move on to segment number 3, your wedding energy hack.
Your wedding energy hack. Tell us more, DJ iSizzle.
Here's today's tip. if you want to keep the dance floor packed all night, you want to do what I have. It's called a party reset. So it's that big moment after dinner and speeches, and everyone's kind of like, could you use some cake or something? This is where you want to do your party reset, and we we can go back to maybe incorporating a second grand entrance. I know a lot of the times when I'm DJing, the couple will come back out after their grand entrance. Like they'll go walk around, or maybe they'll get some photos, and then they'll come back like 10 minutes later, and people will cheer them again. So you can definitely bring in a second grand entrance. There's no rules on that. Like you can also do like a confetti drop, or you can say, "Hey, this is our favorite song. We want to thank you guys for being here. Help us sing along. We're gonna do a big sing along track." Um, I had a couple bring out ice cream, like, during the late night set. They had an ice cream truck right next there. They said, "Everybody grab some ice cream. We're gonna go to the middle of the dance floor. We're gonna have some fun." Um, you know, that's the kinda stuff where, like, it's okay to think beyond just the simple moments, like all the moments you would think, oh, well, a traditional wedding, we're going to have all the, like the first dances, we're going to have, you know, all these special moments. We might include a shoe game, but those little moments, like bringing everybody out to the dance floor with ice cream cones, or, you know, those kind of moments are really what create great photos, as well as they create memories that you'll be talking about for a long time. And you'll probably be laughing about it with your friends later too. So, and also it's nice because it did, add a little sugar and get people back motivated and stuff after like a big dinner and, speeches and toasts. So those little things can really add a lot of energy to a party. And I think it's hard to think beyond just getting the overall wedding planned and just taken care of versus like, what if we did this? But I think I would say like the best way to do this is plan your wedding out how you want it planned out, and then go, what if we added this here? Now that everything's laid out, what if we put this little moment in here? What if we added this little moment over here? And it's not a lot. And a really good wedding DJ will be like, yeah, absolutely. I go through and I have a wedding, or I have a DJ program, Serato, where I create playlists. I download each MP3 from the playlist, either a Spotify playlist or YouTube playlist or Apple Music. I'll download all the MP3s. I'll load them into my program, and then I'll make little notes within the playlist. So I'll create like a pre-ceremony playlist, and I'll put the time. I'll put the ceremony, and I'll put the time. Put, this is the wedding party entrance. This is the bride entrance. This is the exit song. So all those little things are very important. And if you tell your wedding DJ, hey, we're going to do this at this time, he'll probably put it in his program and make a little note on there as well. So um, don't be afraid to try those things, but make sure you get your everything planned out first, and then add those little extra special touches if you still have the energy and if you still want to do that kind of stuff. So I always say, like, it's better to have more things planned than not enough, because the last thing you want to have is too much time where people get bored, or they just are like, well, what else is going on? There's nothing going on for an hour. I guess we're done. We're just going to be dancing for another 5 hours. So little things like that, little touches, like, guests remember, and they really appreciate that as well. All right, moving on to segment number 4, Request Roulette.
Request Roulette. Do you take requests, DJ iSizzle?
At a wedding last year, someone requested Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen. At the height of the energy, we are dancing, partying, jumping up and down. And can you imagine the DJ just ends all that when everybody's just high up energy and just says, "Mama just killed a man"? Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. Like, you get some requests like that from guests, and you're like, I better use my judgment here. Let maybe the dance floor cool off a little bit. Let these high energy tracks kind of run their course, and then do a dip moment. And that's what I did. So if the couple says it's okay for requests, use your judgment. Don't just throw on the next request from a guest, because sometimes those requests aren't in line with the energy and the rhythm that you're building. Guests know one thing and one thing only. They want to party, they want to have a great time. and they occasionally want a song request that is completely out of left field. Sometimes it works because it's an inside request that the couple and the guest know. But if it's a song that's kind of slower, but the good news is everybody knows the lyrics to Bohemian Rhapsody. But you have to be careful and know when to bring in Bohemian Rhapsody and how to properly bring it in. And one thing I like to do is look, if the energy has kind of died out and we're done with the 128s, we're done with the jumping up and down, and we just need a moment to bring it down and have everybody sing along. That's where you bring it down. You let the song play out, the previous song, and then you say, "Hey, everybody, I need you to help me sing from the top of your lungs. I want to let's create a moment where everybody's just singing, we're swaying back and forth. Let's just cool down for a moment and help me with this song. If you know it, let's sing it top of our lungs." And then that's when you bring it in, and you bring it in at the part that everybody knows, and you play it just enough. You don't have to play the full 7 minutes of Bohemian Rhapsody, but you should play at least a minute just to get everybody a vibe. And a lot of that's experience too. Like you need to know. Also, I have some cool remixes too that add a little more drum to it. So that way it doesn't die out as much. So there's little techniques as a wedding DJ that experience is the only way you're going to learn them. You can research, you can look at the best of lists, but some of those best of lists aren't very good. And they're made by like record companies just to get you to play the songs. So I'm always very selective and careful with that kind of stuff. And sometimes you need a left turn song, and sometimes a request will do that for you. So, all right, let's move on to segment.
Track of the episode. Play us a banger, DJ iSizzle.
My track of the episode this week is Justin Timberlake's Can't Stop the Feeling. This might have been a previous track before on a previous episode. I don't remember, but this song came to mind the other day, and I love this song. It's such a fun song. And you don't have to play the full 4 minutes. You can mix it in. I have a cool little DJ mix where it gives me a 16-bar intro, play the song for about 2 minutes, and then it gives me another 16-bar intro. So I have two different versions I can choose from. Um, it is a fun song. Sometimes it gets the floor started. It just kind of depends if people are like in the mood for that era of music. And, it is a fun song though. I mean, you can play it between dinner. You can play it for a dance floor. I wouldn't play it on the hottest dance floor. I might throw some like sexy back, just a little bit of that, and kind of see what the vibe is with people. But Can't Stop the Feeling's a fun one. Like if you have a lot of kids on the dance floor, it's a good song to throw on. It's a good all ages song too. Most adults really like that song as well. So yeah. I would say let's move on to segment number 6.
Spotlight shout out. Who is the best in the Northwest, DJ iSizzle?
Today's Spotlight shout out goes to Ashley Swan Events. I have worked with her, and she absolutely nails the service every time. She does a lot of she's like loves like the idea of late night snacks, kind of like what we were talking about earlier. Like she's great at doing that kind of stuff, and like coming up with ideas. Like you're like, oh, I would have never thought of that. That's a great idea. So she's great with timelines. She has a great attention to detail. I think it's top tier. I've worked with a lot of vendors. Like most weddings you go to, a lot of times you never work with the same vendors. But she's a great vendor that I'm always happy to work with. It's always a pleasure. She understands couples, she understands timings, big moments. She also understands like not to push you as a couple, but also like give you a little nudge, like, hey guys, we are getting 15 minutes off the schedule. We should probably do some more stuff here. We don't want people to leave. We want to keep them here, keep them entertained. So if you're looking for somebody that's like super organized, super easy to work with, she's the one. Ashley Swan Events, highly recommend. All right, that's going to be today's episode. Thank you so much for stepping behind the booth with me, DJ iSizzle. This was episode 6. We like to call it Epic Entrances, Unexpected Requests, and Dance Floor Fireworks. I hope you love the stories and tips. If you have any questions or anything like that, hit me up on social media, leave a comment. Let me know what you would love me to talk about. I'm always happy to share any experiences. Also, if you're planning your big day, you're looking for a DJ, feel free to go to djissizzle.com, hit the book now button, go to the form. It's like 4 or 5 questions. Just fill it out. We can do a Zoom meeting and talk about all the details of the wedding. Whatever works best. I'm always on social media, always here to help. Yeah. Let me think here. What else? Oh, you know what? I need to say until next time, keep the music loud, the energy high, and the dance floor alive. And remember to stay sizzling. Talk to you soon. Bye, guys.
Thanks for tuning in to the Behind the Booth podcast hosted by DJ iSizzle. Remember to keep the music loud, the energy high, and your memories unforgettable. See you next time.